Welcome to Stock Time to Improv with advice for startup businesses. And today I'm very happy to have Kitti McKay, who is an expert at decluttering your brain. So, Kitti, thank you so much for being here. Tell me a little bit about what does that mean?
Well, thank you for having me, Mary. Most people, when you think about decluttering, you think of the physical space, don't you? And what I have found in my experience with clients is that once you start to get rid of some of that physical clutter, then there's always a why behind it, and you may be subconsciously shooting yourself in the foot by having all of these things around you. So at the same time as you are decluttering your space, you're decluttering your brain. You're getting rid of those old thoughts, those old beliefs. It sounds very woo-woo, Mary, but it really seems to be the case. Yeah, every one of my clients in the last year has started to think about having their own business, which is why I'm so delighted to be on your startups broadcast, because it is appropriate. Because after a while, at a certain point in your life, you start to think there's something more for me. Maybe I don't want to work for the man anymore. I want something for me. And you have to have your brain clear to do that. So both your space and your brain.
Okay, so which space is most important to do first?
Oh, good heavens! If we're sticking with startups, then there is no way that you can work effectively in a cluttered office. And I have proof of this. It's my own story, where I had started up 3 years ago doing virtual decluttering, and I walked into my office one day and I was just horrified. I said, I can't do this anymore. No wonder I'm not moving forward, because I'm mired in quicksand. I'm mired in papers that have no relevance. There's the stuff on the floor. Come on, be professional, right? So I got myself in check. I spent the next couple of days doing it. And wow, increase in productivity. You walk in your office, you feel good right away. You don't feel burdened with the past. You feel productive. You feel light and ready to serve others, which is what we're here to do.
So, do you have 3 tips for people to do it themselves about, what do you do first? What are your baby steps to declutter?
My mantra is the word is based around the word one room at a time, one area of that room at a time, one thing at a time. And that was based around my work with my fellow ADHDers, who can get a little bit overwhelmed. We'll see what we perceive to be a mountain, which is actually a molehill, but we will see a mountain, and I don't know where to start. So you do nothing. But if you start with, okay, I'm only going to do the one room, which in this case is the office, and then you decide on one area of that room, maybe it's the floor, and this is part 2, and then one thing at a time. Remember, the clutter did not accumulate overnight, and it is not, unless your magic wand is better than mine, okay, it is not going to go away overnight.
Right.
Now, the second part of this is you always want to, when possible, start with the floor, because the floor is where your energy flow goes. So you know about feng shui, and it is certainly, you notice, and every single one of my clients has said, oh no, I'll do the desk first. No, stick with me, do the floor. And they notice an immediate and palpable difference in just by clearing the energy that's flowing from the window, assuming you have one, to the door. And like I say, it's woo-woo, but it works.
One organizer I worked with told me that an inch of pile is an hour of file. Do you find that to be the case?
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't, I wouldn't disagree too much with that.
So you get the recycle bin and the shredder and the filing cabinet.
That's exactly it, is the idea that, do you really need all these papers? Now, my very first client, she had a big L-shaped desk, and it was approximately 6 inches worth of paper, whether it be magazines or what have you. And I said, we're going to have to start with this. She said, no, I need everything on this desk. Well, we started powering through it, and we had 2-3 garbage bags full of recycle bags full of stuff. And she was amazed. She said, I really thought I needed all this, but she said, I don't want to read 2-year-old magazines, do I?
No, no. And you can find the articles online. Why do you need the physical copy?
Well, there's that about it too. And really, if it's over 6 months old, certainly over a year old, it's gone. It's lost its relevance to you, and you've moved on. You've grown.
Okay. So the common mistake is that people get overwhelmed and do nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the baby steps is one room, one area, one task.
If you are not, say for example, you may have somebody watching who is not a startup. You never know, power of social media. And in a case like that, if their office is not that important, or perhaps their dining room is their office, right? So they may not have a designated room. Then you want to look at, what is the first thing that you see? It can be either the entrance or the bedroom, where it's the first thing you see in the morning, the bedroom, last thing you see at night. This sits in your subconscious, believe it or not, it does. Or your entrance is the last thing you see when you walk out the door. I mean, how horrible is it to come home, Mary, and go, oh, yeah, I really got to get to this. Well, that's no way.
You don't want to be tripping over stuff. The other thing is that when you're putting things away, I like to put stuff in the first place I'm going to look for it. It may not be logical, but if that's the first place I'm going to look for it, that's where it's going to go.
That's right. And that is where many organizers, they'll go in and they will say, for example, organize your office, but it's not your system. It has to be something that works for you. And Marie Kondo, or just pick a name out of the air. Everybody has a system that works for them. My system might not work for some people, but if you work with the person to and you get to know them and you see what their style is, then you want a system that is going to stay with you for life. Because, as I like to say, what is the use to declutter if you can't keep it that way? But this is our 7 easy steps to conquer your physical and mental clutter. It's basically, and it really is, 7 easy steps, and you follow it in linear order. It's intended as a grounding tool for your decluttering journey and beyond. And that is available at www.declutterthebrain.com.
Well, we want everybody to be wildly successful, and we want them to feel like they can actually do it. So in order to get your great idea, your great concept off the ground, you need to have a clear ground for it to get off of.
Absolutely. And especially when you're starting up, the most important thing is to look professional and feel professional, because that projects to your new client that, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I've got your file right here, Mrs. Jones. Let's get started.
Thank you so much, Kitti McKay from Declutter the Brain. And this is Mary Scott from Business Riff. If you're stuck, it's time to improv. And I'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.